you got the central banks that are continuing to go on a gold buying spree. They see what is coming. And yesterday morning in Shanghai, when the market opened up, $112 an ounce higher premium gold spot than in the West. They understand what is coming. They are trying to siphon all of the gold, all of it, out of the West and move it towards China. You have to do what the biggest, most well-funded but well-informed investors on the planet are doing.
This is Kaiser Johnson with Liberty and Finance, and this is the Miles Franklin Weekly Special for October 9th through October 16th, 2023, while supplies last. This week we feature two different specials: Silver Morgan Rounds at $2.09 over spot from CNT, and half-ounce Gold Eagles at $1.15 over melt. First, the Morgan Round from CNT celebrates the classic Morgan dollar, but is 4 nines fine and 1 full troy ounce of silver. It's also IRA eligible, and at just $2.09 over spot, a great way to stack 4 nines fine 1 ounce silver at a low premium. Next, the Gold Eagle is one of the most popular gold bullion coins in the world, providing incredible recognizability and investor trust. The half-ounce Eagle adds a further degree of flexibility and liquidity. They come 42 a tube and are available at just $1.15 over melt while supplies last. They're also IRA eligible. And if you'd like to learn more about a precious metals IRA, call us and we'll be happy to help you in that process. To order our specials or any of the many other options we have available, call us at 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237. We're available after hours and on weekends, and we look forward to speaking with you.
Welcome back to Liberty and Finance. We're always delighted to have this returning guest. Andy Schectman is the CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals, and he joins us for this weekly market update. Today is Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. Andy, thanks for coming back on Liberty and Finance.
Good to be here, Dunnigan. The world is spinning out of control. You know, we talk about that all the time, how when we started doing this, it was just little by little. Things would change, and now it's little by little by little by little by little by little by little, and it's increasing in magnitude, it's increasing in severity, whether you're talking home or the atrocities going on around the world that the U.S. just seems to have their finger in. I don't know. It's a scary time, and you know, it's nice to be able to be here and talk things through with you. So thanks for having me.
Always grateful for your presence here, and I apologize to our viewers that I'm not in my usual garb and so on in my office. We're traveling, so I'm doing the best I can during travels, and I appreciate, first of all, also apology to everyone that we missed last week. We had technical difficulties. Andy made extra efforts, even though he was traveling for a conference, to be with us, and we tried to do a live stream Thursday night. Didn't work out for technical reasons. We're working on getting those things fixed, but we are recording this today for Tuesday, and wanted to get an update from you, Andy, because there, as you mentioned, there's so much that's going in so many directions wrong in our world, both domestically and internationally. I get often asked by clients who call and say, you know, Dunnigan, you talk to lots of people, you get lots of perspectives, you have lots of insight and visibility of what's going on. Where do you think it's going to happen? Where do you think it's going? When's it going to break? When you could pick your topic, whether it's manipulation of prices on the commercial metals exchanges, whether it's availability of reasonable prices if people are starting to plan ahead some major moves they want to do and still want to know if there's going to be metal available for them to buy when the time comes, whether it's about confiscation from our own government, whether it's about breaking of things geopolitically, and in all of those answers, the best I can do is tell them we don't know the day or the time. We just know that we have to take responsible action, and that we're at least awake, and most people aren't. Most people are just going to be hit blindsided. And so many of these changes have already happened kind of like under the surface. And then when the final straw breaks the camel's back or whatever, it's going to seem to be sudden. And you've been trying to point out to us for years, it wasn't sudden. It happened over a progression of time, from carving out, deepening in debt and increasing risk and exposure and everything. And that last straw is all it takes to bring the house of cards down. Boy, a lot of mixed metaphors there. But anyway.
No, but I think you're eloquent in the way that you say it, Dunnigan. I mean, you really are. And there is no easy way to say it. Let's just touch, because I know we're in a hurry today. You're traveling and I got to go here quick. So let's just gloss on just a couple of them, right? Just to, you know, I was on a walk this morning and I see two people with my dogs and I see two people that I know from the neighborhood and they say the same thing. It's like every single day there's something. Never was that way. Let's just look at a couple of the things that are lying underneath the surface. As of June 30th, there are 4,645 institutions, banks, that have over $7 trillion in uninsured deposits here in the United States, whether there's savings and loans or credit unions or whatnot. 7.134 trillion in uninsured deposits. Just the four big commercial banks, JP Morgan, Citibank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, those four banks alone have 59% of the uninsured deposits are over $4.185 trillion. You think there's a problem brewing under the surface? I would say yes. How about the fact that the bond market is getting clobbered, that the 10-year Treasury will go down as one of the worst, if not the worst, bloodbaths in bond market history? It's down over almost 50% just since March of 2020, and rates are still rising. You got Rick Santelli on CNBC, who's not a right-leaning guy. He's very moderate. In fact, I like him a lot. I've met him a few times. Smart dude. He's saying 10-year Treasury could go to 16% by his calculation, by his charts. I mean, really? What happens when you have 18, 20, 21% mortgages? What happens? Don't know. How about the fact that the U.S. has come closest to defaulting, maybe the closest they've come to defaulting in decades or in ever on their debt? And again, kicking the can down the road further and further, or the fact that we remove a Speaker of the House for the first time in history, or now this awful war, the second war that we're now involved in Israel and with Palestinians. I mean, it's breaking out, and the U.S. is now sending aircraft carriers and airplanes to defend Israel. How about the fact that the mortgage rates have hit the highest level since 2000? How about what happened in Hawaii or what happened in Ohio, East Palestine, Ohio? How about OPEC with their voluntary production cuts, more and more production cuts, and oil at the highest level ever. You know, it's since over $95 a barrel, highest level in quite some time. On top of that, household debt, mortgages, auto loans, all record high, record student debt, which is our biggest asset of this country, $1 trillion in credit card debt. Look, everywhere you look. Or how about the fact that in the last 18 days, $444 billion was added to the national debt. It took us till 1975 to accumulate our first $500 billion in debt. We did it in the last 18 days. So when you talk about things spinning out of control, and again, they are. And I don't know where the next point is that breaks, but if you're just focused on one simple thing, or you just think that everything will be okay, you're not paying attention. And I think this is the time to really start to, as your old YouTube channel said, reluctantly prepare.
One of the things that a lot of people who are viewers of our channel tend to be later career stage or in retirement age that we've mentioned before is the risk to people's retirements. My wife and I recently relocated to Central Florida. We're in a 55 plus community, and I talked with a couple of people there, and I was concerned even more so after the reaction I got when they heard I was a gold and silver dealer. One of them said, well, we don't need to protect our funds because we're already retired. And that belief that somehow you've passed sort of this irreversible milestone to say now we're set because we've got Social Security, we've got a pension, and we've got some savings in the bank and some CDs and that sort of thing. Or our broker tells us that, just keep buying the dips and we're going to get 7% per year forever. These strategies, these plans that have panned out well for people over the past 40 years are fraught with risk to their sustained financial well-being going forward. People don't realize on the whole how vulnerable Social Security is, how vulnerable pension plans are, how vulnerable anything that they've deposited in the bank is no longer really their legal title anymore. Now it belongs to the bank, etc. So we've discussed that. We might say, beat the horse to death or whatever in the past, but if you want any new ways of helping people understand that none of us can really claim that being part of the system in any way that's connected to the dollar, the debt, the banking system, et cetera, and a lot of those pension funds, et cetera, dependent on assuming they're going to get certain yields from their treasury bonds or their stock market investments or whatever. How that we're all, as long as we're connected to the system, we're all vulnerable unless we opt out of the system and stand on something that's solid.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, the pension industry is a ticking time bomb. Look what happened in the UK. They had to come in and reverse course for tightening and to go back to accommodating just to save the pensions. And the same thing will happen here. You will reach a point where, as rates continue to rise, as these pensions face greater and greater strain, pensions are in big trouble as the economy slows. Or how about the fact that in your 55 and older community, ask people one question: do you know what a bail-in is? Most people don't. That was written into law. You have to be out of the system at this point. If you are in the system and you are entrenched in dollars and in the system, you're in big trouble. There is no safety anymore. FDIC, the coverage that everyone relies upon, has 125 billion in assets backing 18 trillion in deposits. The whole thing is upside down. Look, you got the central banks that are continuing to go on a gold buying spree. They see what is coming. And yesterday morning in Shanghai, when the market opened up, $112 an ounce higher premium gold spot than in the West. They understand what is coming. They are trying to siphon all of the gold, all of it, out of the West and move it towards China. You have to do what the biggest, most well-funded but well-informed investors on the planet are doing, and that is continuing to accumulate. The central banks purchased another 77 tons in August. It's a 38% increase over July. Over and over and over again, we keep saying the biggest money in the world is doing this. And I think that if you are not a contrarian, as our friend Rick Rule says, you're bound to be a victim. This is time to start reevaluating. Even the best laid plans sometimes need to be reevaluated, and this is one of those sometimes.
Even clients of mine, couples who have just sold their home after all these years of appreciating in value and are unsure or uncomfortable or relocating, sticking all those funds in the bank and leaving them there at this point in time, in so many hundreds, if not thousands of banks being as vulnerable as the ones that already failed in first and second quarter of this year, have a strategy that they're using of putting those funds at least temporarily into, for example, silver or gold, and then if they need to, vaulting it, if not, just holding on to it, so that, as Rick Rule says, maintain cash liquidity, but maintain bullion liquidity as well, because he considers it a form of more persistent and less inflation risky currency if you have silver, for example, or savings if you have gold. And just reminding people that there are options. You don't have to be inside the system. You can opt out, even on a temporary basis, if you want to have a bridge to get to where we're heading. And I know, Andy, you and I have talked about the analogy, which is more than an analogy, of the Noah's Ark silver coins that we've offered from Armenia in the past, because the Noah's Ark is a good example of people who built something because they had advanced knowledge of a coming tumultuous time, and it was essentially their bridge to a new time was to be carried safely on this ark. And that people, acquaintances that I've had who have preserved their families' financial well-being across generations of tumult, such as in India, et cetera, through ownership of physical metals. Any further thoughts on that before you tell us about this week's special?
Yeah, I'm glad you say that, because that maybe that's what allows me to be calm when people are getting upset about the counterintuitive behavior of gold and silver. First of all, gold and silver represent more than just wealth. They represent the antithesis to the Western system, the frailty of the system. But the big money, the sophisticated money, the central banks, the commercial banks, they understand what it truly is. It is wealth. But because, as I've shared with you and your audience before, when I started this company, my father told me I'll buy some gold and silver every 2 weeks. It's the only rule that I have to follow. 33 years ago when we started this company, and I told you that I've honored that promise to him, even though I own the company, I've honored that promise and have purchased every 2 weeks for 33 years. I've never missed a 2-week period. To me, it is wealth. It's not an investment. And yes, I'm very hyper aware of its ups and downs, but it doesn't bother me because to me, it is my wealth. And when I take a step back and look at the risk involved in owning dollar-based assets at this stage of the game, bottom of the ninth inning, maybe in a Keynesian system that has failed and is now being exposed, and we can see the transition to one based moving away from debt instruments and promises to commodities and hard assets and transparency, it becomes very easy for me to feel comfortable with these ups and downs, to look at the downs as the stupidity of the West giving me and the East a subsidy to accumulate real wealth. That's the way you need to look at it. It's not an investment. It is wealth. And in times like we face right now, where all the things I just mentioned spinning faster and faster, one of them is going to break. Don't know which one, probably one that we're not even thinking about. And when that happens, there's no time to blow up your life raft. You're in the water already. And I say this stuff, and I hate being pessimistic about the future. There's a fine line between pessimism and realism, but it's time to put on our big boy pants and realize that the world is moving in a direction that is rather different from what we've experienced over the last 20, 30 years. I mean, there's been chaos forever, right? I'm not naive to say that every generation doesn't have their own chaos, but this one seems a little bit more acute, a little bit more accelerated, and a little bit different, at least anything that I've experienced in my 53 years. So yeah, I think it's never been more important to accumulate metal right now, because I don't know where else to put your money that gives you liquidity, safety, flexibility, and the ability to pick it up and go if you have to, wherever that go may be. But to me, I take great comfort in it. And I hope one or two people out there who are listening to this too, and I'm not talking my book, I'm trying to be as sincere as I can as a father of 3 kids. I think it's time for people to wake up that things are going to start to get worse before they get better. And we haven't even seen the problems with the banks yet. Wait, before the end of the year, this will be our topic. And one last thing, and then we'll talk about the special and let you run. I think the nastiest buzz phrase that we will all grow to hate over the next several months or years will be counterparty risk. The ability to remove that counterparty risk is something that I find very valuable about gold and silver, as Doug Casey has made famous, is saying gold and silver are assets that are not simultaneously someone else's liability. This will become a big problem as the economy gets worse and things get worse. People will not be able to service and or uphold their end of the bargain. So yeah, I think it's never been more important. Done again this week on our special. We are doing both gold and silver. We're going to try to do that now each week as much as possible. We have the half-ounce gold eagle at $115 over melt. So you just simply take the price of gold, divide by 2, add 115. And then we have on the silver side the 1-ounce silver Morgan rounds, not the Morgan silver dollars, but the Morgan rounds. They're generic 1-ounce rounds that are made to look like a Morgan silver dollar. They're really beautiful. As far as rounds go, they're awesome. I like them better than just about any that I've ever seen. And those are $2.09 over their melt value. And look, it's a good way to start to put gold and silver, transition it from paper wealth into real money. And this is a good way to do it.
Well, Andy, I'm sorry we have to wrap in a hurry. I know we both have obligations, and I'm grateful for us being able to pull this together for our audience. Sorry we missed last week, folks. We don't want to ever miss a week, but thank you for joining us, Andy, with a weekly market update on Liberty and Finance.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Dunnigan. Talk to you soon. Stay well, buddy.
Miles Franklin Precious Metals is one of America's oldest and most trusted bullion dealers. Miles Franklin is A+ rated and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, licensed and bonded, and has 0 complaints ever registered. Here at Liberty and Finance, we are licensed brokers with Miles Franklin. To order, simply call us, discuss your needs, and we can let you know our live inventory, prices, and availability, and lock in your order over the phone. Once your order is locked, the price is held for you regardless of market fluctuations, and the metals are reserved for you awaiting your settled payment. Within 1 business day of ordering, you will receive an email invoice detailing the order and payment instructions. Miles Franklin accepts payments by bank wire, ACH or electronic check, money order, check mailed priority mail, and cryptocurrency. The fastest forms of payment are bank wire and cryptocurrency. Upon settled payment, metals will ship out within 3 to 5 business days. You will receive tracking information via email. Domestic shipping charges are $15 for any order under 500 ounces of silver or 10 ounces of gold. For orders larger than that, domestic shipping is free. The package will be boxed, fully insured, and labeled discreetly, with no indication of the contents inside. For your privacy, the name Miles Franklin will not even be on the package. To talk to myself, Kaiser, my brother Elijah, or my father Dunnigan, call 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237.